Hello, MS Gym Nation. I am Neuro Nerd, and I'm here to teach you the science behind movement as medicine. What's up, you guys? It's Coach T. This is my alternate identity. I'm a Neuro Nerd. What can I say? In these segments, we are going to teach you the science behind anatomy, physiology, kinesiology, biomechanics, and overall neurology. Because that's why we're all here, right? In order to better understand your body, you need to understand how it works. When you understand how your body works, you can use it that much more effectively to heal and to get yourself going. So I am going to geek out. I may drop into my nerd voice every now and then because that's who I am, and let's have fun doing this, and let's have fun at school, okay? So class is in session. Let's get ready to roll. The first topic that we're going to talk about today is BGB. And people always want to know, well, where does BGB come from? All right? Where does BGB come from? How did you come up with BGB? And why is it so effective? And the reason is, it is the back force transmission system. Just like in your car, when you shift gears, you have a transmission which switches you to different speeds to do different things, to go different speeds, to handle different speed limits and all that kind of stuff. The same thing happens in your body as your foot steps on the ground, or as you stand up, or as you move. You have forces transferred from the ground, from your body, or from the ground into your body so that you can move. And that is what tells your brain what's effective and what's not, okay? So let's break down the back force transmission line with my trusty phone here. And I'm going to show you a picture, all right? Now, everybody just hold your breath. This is me, what I look like without skin on, so check me out. I'm just kidding. All right, so let's break this down. So when your foot hits the ground, so when this foot right here hits the ground, a number of different things happen. The first thing that happens is as your heel strikes the ground strikes back on you in what's called a ground reaction force. That force travels up the outside of your lateral leg, up the peroneals, goes up the lateral hamstrings, okay? Once it gets up that lateral hamstring on this side, it then goes into what's called your sacrotuberous ligament right here, across into the opposite SI joint. And then from that opposite sacroiliac joint, it travels up your lat. And then from up your lat, it goes up here, and right at that shoulder blade or that scapula, it splits in two. One path goes down the arm line, and it activates your arm to counterbalance the movement of your opposite leg. And then the other split goes up into the upper trapezius, into your cervical spine, and into your TMJ, which is your temporal mandibular joint. Okay? So that's how movement works. Now, when we look at this, okay, when we look at this line right here, there you go. So when we look at this line right here, you can see that this whole line affects BGB. So as the force travels up, one of the major intersections right here is your B, which is your booty. The second interaction, I'm sorry, I'm having all these pop up. The second interaction that we have going on right here is in this middle of the body in your guts. Okay, so your spinal erectors, your latissimus dorsi, and your abdominal cavity, your deep abdominals is your guts, or your G in the BGB triad. And then up top here, you can see a major intersection right in that scapula or that blade. Okay, so when we work on muscular integration, when we work on isolated activation and activity of the different muscles in your body, you can see that if you hit glutes, that controls your leg. If you hit guts, that controls your core. And if you hit blades, that controls what's going on in the upper portion of this back force transmission system. I am all kinds of out of batteries. Technologically, I am not that gifted, but biomechanically, I can hold my own. All right, guys, so that's how that works. So when we are working on BGB, and I tell you to BGB, what that means is that you want to get your hips underneath you, which activates your glutes, which when your glutes are activated, they act as a shock absorber every single time your foot hits the ground. So whether you are just standing there, whether you are walking on a wheelie walker, wherever it's at, whether you're walking on trekking poles over here, or whether you're walking unassisted, every single time that you hit the ground, your glute absorbs the shock. If your glutes aren't working, then guess what's going to absorb the shock? Your feet. And if your feet wear down and your brain's like, I don't know how to use your feet, then guess what's going to happen? Your feet are going to turn in, your feet are going to turn out, your ankles are going to collapse, and worst case scenario, you end up getting drop foot, which is what a lot of MSers actually have. So when we work on BGB, and a lot of what we do in the MS gym, especially in our fundamental movement patterns, is we work on activating the butte, we work on activating your guts, which is your deep abdominal canister, which includes your diaphragm, your pelvic floor, your obliques, your latissimus dorsi, your spinal erectors, your multifidus, and your transverse abdominis, which are all of the muscles that stabilize you, allow you to walk better, and transmit force from this side of the body into this side of the body. All right? And then the last beat in BGB, if I'm working on this glute, this shoulder is connected. So as you saw, it travels across your body because your body's made in an X. So this shoulder works in conjunction with this hip, and this shoulder works in conjunction with this hip. So when you're training and when you're using a movement training plan to help you move better, MS is going to interrupt all those signals of how you actually work. So guess what we do from a neuroplastic standpoint? We use movement as medicine, and we retrain your brain to access neurologic pathways and give intentional attention to strengthening the function and improving the function of your blades, your guts, and your butt so that that back force transmission line can function better. So when you get the whole entire body focusing on moving better, focusing on functioning better, a lot of times that creates neuroplastic change because the body as a whole starts to appreciate and accept and welcome and understand movement, and then movement becomes more predictable, and when movement becomes more predictable, then it becomes safer and your brain starts to crave it because, like I've always told you, movement suppresses and counteracts MS symptoms. All right? So when you think about BGB, that's your proprioceptive cues that like when you do every single rep of exercise, you always want to say, where are my butts? Where are my guts? Where are my blades? Okay? And we have a lot of videos that I'm going to do in movement mapping, okay? Coach team movement mapping that's going to train you on how to find BGB, how to train BGB, how to improve BGB, and how to use BGB to actually walk and move and do your thing a little bit better. What kind of nerd can dance like this, baby? So that's what we're talking about today, is that back force transmission system. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a series of videos mapping out that back force transmission system. So we're going to get that entire system working better for you so you can start moving better, feeling better, getting more balance, getting more energy, and training your brain to counteract your MS symptoms. So, from Neuro Nerd, thank you for joining me for my very first session. I love you guys. We're going to rock this out. Let's have a nerd party. Let's do our thing. Let's learn about neurology, and let's move. I'll talk to you guys later.